All right, we're back a little bit. So I've got this 394 crankcase here that's, well, it's actually pretty solid. Pretty nice crankcase overall, but the back got a little crunched here. So what I did was I filled in the back with JB Weld, and that will really strengthen that. But also I got to fill in the front. And I need to put an insert in here. So we'll do that. One thing I like to do with inserts is make a notch on them. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. First, take the coat off. Bring up comments over here. I gotta plug this in, you guys gotta remind me. James is here, good. Okay. So, yeah, what happened, a little bit of damage on the crankcase. This looks like it's pushed in, and there's a, took a shot here. This won't matter for the flywheel, but as long as the flywheel doesn't rub against it, and I don't think it will. But this, we have to basically put a threaded insert, which is this. It's an M5 threaded insert. What I like to do is notch these so that they're easier to install. But in order to do that, I need my Dremel. Nice thing about the inserts is you actually end up with a stronger thread than, because it's steel, it's stronger than magnesium. Put in a couple of notches just for a flat blade screwdriver so you can help turn it. That's really all that you need to do. All right. Away for the moment. And these inserts take a M8 thread. Now since this got pushed down slightly, I've got to angle this back up. Nice thing about magnesium, it taps nice and easy. Brake cleaner. Make sure there's no oils. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the insert in with JB Weld. I use quick weld. I think I had to leave it out. I use JB quick weld because it's pretty fast. Bearing that use. I'm going to mix up a bit of this because I'm actually going to fill this in that corner. Back. You know what? Is this a note 3 or is this a note 4? Hang on a second. This is a note 3. Okay. I have a fresh battery for this. Forgot about that. Whatever. So hopefully I get this. Anyway, I'm going to have to move a little bit faster here than I was. So JB Quick Weld works. And I got this. So I can use screwdriver. Now I put a bit of ends going. So everything gets nicely coated. What I want to do is okay. Get a straight edge here and see exactly. I can just eyeball it. How much higher is this? That ought to do. Just take a piece of tape. Hey, everyone, missed you earlier. This is just aluminum tape. Just to help block that out. And basically fill to the height of the insert. That's that. I give that a few minutes to set up. Then we'll grind that back and install the bearing. While we're waiting, bumper here to install with an M5 nut. Hey, Dan. Having a good old time. Just building a really, like, this is going to be a super ratty looking 394. So very excited. This is going to be really uber cheap, you know, comparatively for 394s. What else? What else is going on? What do I need to do? I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to grab the other case half and get the rubber bumper in on here. So this is a fresh bearing in here, ready to rock, but these are always a pain. So as typical, I use my nylon rope trick. And just start working it around. There we go. Boom. The rubber bumper's installed. Congratulations, backwards. Good job, Matt. Whoops. Let's go the other way. Yeah, $450 plus shipping. I don't think it'll be worth much more than that. All right, which way does it gotta go? We gotta go that way. Believe me, it's going to be every Ratty, but still should be pretty strong. There we go. Got lucky on that go. So that goes like that. That will go like that. Don't need that anymore. Let's clean this off. Did that answer your question, Jade? Come on, stimulus check. Yeah. The truth is, I've just got parts that I got to move. So the easiest way here is just throw them in a saw, and you guys get the benefit of seeing that, and you know get to have some fun and all that fun stuff. So while we're waiting again for that to cure, let's put the PTO side of a crank in. Need my crank tools though. Good thing. I just used them last night, so they're right here. So in case anybody hasn't seen this before, these are my crank tools, and you're welcome to purchase them. Just have to email me. Hopefully going to get more stock this week. I'm hoping early this week to get a phone call saying the batch is done. I've got a bundle of them coming. So you put a rod in, grab the clutch side of the crank, put a sleeve over it, just aluminum, and a handle. That's all that is. Washer, which you don't necessarily have to use, and a nut. Then take your ratchet and grind it down. Does not take much effort. Smooth, easy, go easy, go smooth. And when it stops, it stops. That's it. Done. Now you do is you back it off. Nice and easy. One of the beauties of these tools is they're easy to use. They're very simple. They put no lateral force on the bearings. You don't have to heat something up and cool something down to get this done. If you get in the middle of it and you get a phone call, take the phone call. There's no rush. You want to hurry it up? Hurry it up. Whatever you like. So, nice and smooth there. That makes things easy. All right, now we can put this aside. Come back to this and see how she's setting. Pretty good. Now, that's not completely set, but there's no harm in leaving that while we work on this case half. Right? Right. You watching the other live stream? This one's much more exciting, Mega. You know, we're live. Why it's more exciting. Now let's put this away. While Megan's catching up on the other stream, we can, do some hanging out. Kidding. We'll get to it. All right. We need to put a bearing in here, but let's double, triple check that this is all nice and clean and degreased. You paused it for now? Okay, good. Put a little bearing in here. blue Loctite. I'm not going to do the interior bolts for the moment. Blue Loctite. We need anti-seize here. I put a little bit of anti-seize in the bearing pocket because when I'm pulling the bearing in, it makes it more smooth. Yeah, I was not anticipating having to sand the cylinder, so I was not exactly prepared for that, Mega. Apologize. So all I'm doing here is pulling the shields out. These are ZZ bearings, or shielded 6203s. The shields come right out. That way they're open. I do not usually degrease these. You can if you like. Up to you. So I tap them to get them lined up, and you can hear the difference when they get straight. You can pull these in cold or hot, up to you. You get the case hot and slap a bearing in, go for it. I put this in an arbor press, fine. Whatever works for you. And get your wrenches out. Tighten her on down. And if it gets off by a little bit, as they usually do, for whatever reason, just reverse it. Just a piece of 1/2 inch threaded rod. Bunch of nuts and washers. You need a good assortment of nuts and washers. But there, you can hear it. The sound changed. Back in. Beautiful. That's why 394s are so easy. You don't have to do anything more complicated than that. Right on down. eating those. Won't be eating these. Will be eating that. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, I'd say let's get some 1184 on here and pull these together. So this saw I started this morning, Mega. I also did. I'm doing Bob's two 288s at the same time, so it does get a little confusing because they're going to look. Up until this point, they're going to look quite similar. Same crank. Right now, I've got one of Bob's 288s kind of shelved because of I ordered only one gasket kit instead of two, so the second gasket kit's on its way. See, right here, this is the one thing the 288 doesn't have, is a supporting case bolt right in the middle of the bottom for the oiler there, for the oil reservoir. So in a sense, the 288 is simpler. Probably in a sense, the 394 is a bit more reliable. But, I mean, you're talking about one bolt. I know, and I'm not super familiar with I believe it's the 562s, but the 562s, in the middle of their year, had a crankcase change, I believe. And they went from a 5-bolt to a 6-bolt case. I have to assume for strength purposes. But that's just a guess. Now we can do the positioning pins, which are very important. This case half has gotten to tack for a minute, which is why I do it first. That lets that tack before I put the case gasket on. This is an aftermarket gasket, which I have not had trouble with. Used a few of these. Now we do. Let's put Hey, Sarge. Right, now I need the sleeve. Large saw, large sleeve. Even though this is a small rod, still want to use a large sleeve. If you use the small sleeve, you're going to break something. Another nice thing about the 394 is the case just sits here. There's no flopping around. My ratchet is not as smooth as this nut. This just goes together nice and smooth now. Now, Craig Timmons likes to put some case bolts in here too. You can do that if you like. No harm with that. Make sure everything fits. That's it. Don't do any more. Reverse it, pull it up. It's the missus. Welcome. Now, we already have Loctite in these holes, so I can just dump case bolts in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's not the only case bolts. There's the ones towards the front here, which I got to pay attention to also, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now, this interior one is not particularly long. Use a flanged bolt if I can. Fit? No. This one I will Loctite. That one does fit. My Loctite. It ran out, so let's get new. And this one is probably one of the most crucial to Loctite because you cannot get to it easily. So this one over here, right there, is not easy to get to. It ends up behind this spring. So if you want to get to it, You have to basically take the tank off. Not the end of the world, but now this upper one here is a 60 millimeter bolt. I've got lots. The two carburetor bolts are 70 millimeter. M5. This is 60 millimeter. Yep. Double, triple check. The other thing to do is, because we're not putting the dog on until basically one of the last things, is to put a couple of washers on here temporarily to simulate the thickness of the dog. Because if this bolt is too long, you'll strip something out. If it's too short, you'll strip something out. So either way is bad. So that's what I like to do. And now you're getting a nice squeeze out everywhere. No Loctite on there. Okay. Should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very nice. Does the 3-bond excess wash away with fuel? No, it does not. But in here, there's not lots of in the crankcase, because we let it tack. There's not lots of excess. So it's not anaerobic sealer, no. Which certainly is a case for anaerobic sealer, but the thing with anaerobic sealer, it takes a long time to set. So I've kind of gotten used to using 3-bond for this rather than anaerobic. If you want to use the anaerobic, go crazy. So there's 7 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one is actually a dog bolt and a case bolt. This one's a case bolt, but it's in a funky spot. This is another dog bolt here, but not associated with the crankcase. Now, I still have not made myself a special tool to do this, but whatever. So basically about 9.5 millimeters there, and this is about 5 millimeters thick. So what I don't want to do, I don't want to stick this much down beyond 4 millimeters. So right on 4 millimeters is the right depth. Now this is the Husky seal installer, which I've been using. You can use a Coke can too, but it really is the only way to absolutely guarantee that spring doesn't pop out and it goes right over the lip. Now here's where I will use the anaerobic. Yeah, I can't find 3-bond locally. I basically have to get it from eBay. 518 also. down. I'll use my 880 sleeve I used yesterday. This will work. Take this out because the double lip, so the bottom part of the lip is already over the very minor lip that's there anyway. Now you can start measuring if you want. 3.4, so I need another 0.5 millimeter on this side. There we go. 3.8. 4.45. 3.62. So let me Hey Keith Clark, how are you? 4.15. Should be about it. You want to see it barely over that lip. 4.2. 4.4. 4.08. 4.26. We got it. Okay. About it within a 1/10 of a millimeter. It's good. Okay. Do the other one. Hot there? Okay. Define hot. What do you mean? Same deal here. Seal installation sleeve. I've used Coke can for years, but you can use the Husky sleeve. Starting to get more and more used to these Husky sleeves. That's probably all the Loctite I'm going to actually use on the 518 I'm going to use on this piece. So I'll put that away. This goes down basically flush. And the seal's installed. Cranks in, seal's installed. Take a little bit of time for this to loosen up, but she'll be loosening up. 82, huh? Yeah, it's kind of dreary out today. Most definitely a dreary day here. So, what's next? Gotta trim these tabs. Maybe put some stuff away. And get a squish number. You know what I need to do before I do that? I gotta sand the cylinder, then we get a squish number. Once I have a squish number, we're calling it a day here because that's it. But yeah, do a little bit of cleanup. But I need to sand that cylinder just a little bit first. So this cylinder head looks kind of in there. So I'm going to sand it with some old pistons with some 50 grit on them. Best way to set squish and whatnot is with a boring bar and on the lathe, which I don't have in my back pocket. So, plus I'm not trying to get ultimate performance out of this. I just want to get a little bit of extra pop. Thing you don't want to do, you do not want a piece of grit between here and the cylinder walls, so you got to be real careful about that. And we're really not trying to do a super significant amount of grinding. 5, maybe 10 thousandths. That's all we're going for here. I've done this a lot. Some days it takes 2 hours to do this. Today, it's going to take 10 minutes, but this is 200 for selling at $400. 24 is that worth it? When was its last rebuild? I want everybody that listens to me and hangs out with me to understand that I'm going to ask that question about any used saw. So let's think about this. A 2014 372, 6 years old. It's, you know, what do you intend to do with it? Are you going to modify it? Are you going to play with it? You know, what are you going to do? But a 2014 372 is an X-Torque model 372. Fresh rings. Okay, what about bearings? Is this a tree service saw? Was the fresh rings done by a dealer? Did they slap some new seals in there while they were at it? So you have a 2014 372 with a decomp on the side. No, you don't. Something's up there. So they stopped making the original edition 372s in 2010. So they might have converted it. If there's questions on a saw, you know, ask the questions. I'm not saying it's not worth it, you know, but there's got to be some really good answers to some questions. Otherwise, you know, this could have been a tree service saw that somebody figured out how to slap an aftermarket head on for cheap. You know, the bearings are beat, you know, whatever. There's all kinds of different stuff under there that can be. And if you don't know, and I mean know, what's going on with it, the price goes down. Pulling the muffler helps. If they just put new rings in it, why are they selling it? See what I'm saying? These tree service saws are beat all to heck. Fully rebuilt, reputable builder, a little dirty, cosmetically 2014, you know, new bearings, new seals, new rubber. Yeah, $400 is probably reasonable, you know, for that saw. Assuming that saw is what you want, you know. Some of the X-Torques had plastic cage bearings. They had nylon cage bearings in them. And there were issues. I don't like the idea of nylon cage bearings, personally. That's my thing. Doesn't make any sense. You could possibly make the case that there's less damage when you use nylon cage bearings when something fails than metal, but you could also make the case that something's more likely to fail because nylon doesn't like heat. It's a great question, and the topic, topic used saws is a great topic. But all the guys that are on this channel have got to think: if you're going to buy a used saw, got to ask, when was this last rebuild? Who did it? What was done? And if you don't know, then that price has to go down. Definitely has a side decomp. Okay, so there's something up with that saw. It's not a 2014 model. It might have had new rings in 2014. Hi from Scotland, wondering if you're self-taught. Yes. A lot of this stuff I've figured out by reading. Who had that saying up? Steal the best, invent the rest. Better. Yeah, I've been... My story overall was that all this happened out of necessity, you know. Bought a chainsaw after Superstorm Sandy in the October storm there, and I broke it, and then I tried to fix it, and I broke it further. And I basically said to myself, damn it, you know, I got to get this. It's just bolts. Got to be able to figure it out, you know. It's kind of where all this came from. So I did a lot of reading and bought a lot of saws and flipped them and learned a lot of stuff the hard way. Probably still has cost me way more money than I've made on it, you know. You don't really need to do this, but I like to have a nice flat squish band, if at all possible. So for a Ratty 394, that's going to be funny. Missing all kinds of fins. Won't matter, a hoot. That kind of damage anyway. If it's missing all the fins, then maybe, but... Well, I did the whole shoot here, you know, kind of out of necessity, but now it's habit. Can't seem to stop. Yeah, when I started, YouTube was kind of coming into its own, and I almost thought that I had lost, you know, had kind of missed the boat with YouTube. I was considering not even starting with YouTube, and because I just didn't know whether I had missed it or not. But I had found YouTube incredibly helpful, and when I decided to start the channel, the idea was not to do chainsaws and exclusively chainsaws. It was just to kind of chronicle the projects that I did, because I do all kinds of random projects. Just super random stuff. So, but it evolved into more and more into chainsaws, because when I was watching chainsaw videos, I noticed that there was always like this one missing step that they didn't show. And it always drove me berserk. You know, how do you do X? Whatever it was. And then I ended up, in the middle of my frustration, I also ended up developing the crank tools. And that really helped a lot with my builds, because I developed them for me. They were not necessarily developed for anybody else, you know. So 288 pin bearing. These fit in here, by the way, so if anybody's wondering. And I'm just doing this for measurement purposes. In case Bob's watching, yes, Bob, this is your 288 pin bearing, but I'm going to put it in your saw, not in this one. I have to go find one for this saw. But gotta go work on the stinking tiller again. I just got a tiller. In case anybody hasn't seen my tiller, I think I posted it on OPE forum under what's on my bench. My new tiller I posted there, which is new old stock Troy built horse. It's 30 years old. It had never been in dirt until I put it in dirt the other day. Almost feel bad about putting it in dirt, you know. Oh, you know what? I don't have a gasket. That's okay, it doesn't matter. Do it without the gasket. It's not rocking. You check, make sure it's not rocking. This gunk in it. Hey, Brett. So, questions, comments, anything else? Right, 2 breads. Again, this saw is intended to be an exceptionally ratty 394. I think about $450 will buy this thing when I'm done. New bearings, new seals, new rubber, the other. Yeah. This is actually a 288 flywheel. Having trouble with this one too. Maybe it's not the crank. Maybe it's the actual Woodruff key. What I want to do is rotate this so I can get a squish number. Whenever I quit my day job, I'm a dentist. So would I ever quit dentistry? And the answer is yes, I would, but it would probably be unlikely. $25, $32. So 32 thousandths. $30 thousandths. So I need to take off 30 thousandths on here. So what I'll do now is minus 0.030. now that I have my squish number, I will take this down to the folks and put it on the Bridgeport, get it decked, and we can optimize squish at 20 thousandths, roughly. With squish optimized, we'll have a little extra pop, and whoever gets this saw will have a little extra pop. So that's essentially that. I'm basically frozen time here until I get the other 288 gasket kit, and then I can get that done, check that for squish, and then I'll bring them all down to the folks and get these decked on the Bridgeport. Once I have them decked on the Bridgeport, good to go. So, questions, comments, anything else, guys? I don't really have a whole lot else. Things that I can do, but it's kind of the day to chill out, you know what I mean? So, Stephen, does that answer your question? Whether I'd quit it? Basically, I've kind of figured out that if I ended up at like 100,000 subscribers, I would probably have to quit my day job. But until I get there, and by the way, I'm not trying to get there. That's not the point. I don't have that kind of ambition in that direction, if that makes any sense. Yes, this is the cylinder I'm using. It's impressively bad, isn't it? You like the tiller? Good. Yeah, I like the tiller too. You have to go back and look at Terrell's video of the tiller from 1970, and he calls it a garden scratcher. Just, if you guys want to laugh, go laugh. That was funny. You broke number 15 2 days ago. Congratulations, bro. Yeah, well, I've been looking. I've kept my eye out for tillers for a long time, long time. And from what I've seen is that the Troy-Bilts are the one you want to get. The Troy-Bilt horse is the model you really want to get if you're doing serious garden work, you know. And I'm not, but I got a 20 by 30 garden. It's really just not that big, but equipment that holds its value, the Troy-Bilt horse tiller is definitely up there. Some pieces of equipment, a lot of equipment just doesn't hold value at all. The Troy-Bilt horse, oh yeah, that holds value like crazy. Mostly on Craigslist, you find them, and they've just been beat to heck, and they still want $500 for them. So I happened to find a new old stock 30-year-old tiller, been sitting in a shed for 30 years. It really was, quite the find. And I just said, I had to get it. And so I offered the guy $1,000 to deliver it, and he came from New York State. It was like an hour. He drove like an hour and 15 just to get to me. And, super fortunate that he came out. Stephen, yeah, cheers, explaining it clear step by step. Your channel interesting, and I'm not mechanical. Well, maybe if we can give you a little bit of ambition, I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the channel, is to give back to YouTube a little bit and to give some people some ambition. Go for it. A lot of the stuff just isn't. There's a reason why when you go to the dealership with a used saw, they start showing you the new saw rack. Because it just isn't worth it for them to do it. But it might be worth for you to do stuff yourself, So if I can demystify things a little bit and give you a little bit of ambition, then I've done my job, Keith, you know that that I'm on YouTube, right? Telling everybody I'm a dentist, right? Yes, I know the reference, the Seinfeld reference. But anyway, put my crowler away before it gets. Do I have the tiller on vid? No, not yet. I don't do a lot of videos outside, mainly because it's kind of a pain in the neck to do videos outside. The signal is not that good out there. If I get to do a video out there, I will, and I'll show you guys the tiller. I think it's like, it says Troy-Bilt on it, but it really was like one of the original ones. It's at least 30 years old. It does not have the actual like removable PTO. It's actually just a tiller. My dad's has the basically is a PTO 2-wheel tractor type of thing, which happens to have a tiller on it. Dad's got that model. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. What camera do I use right now? I just use my phone. So this is actually on an old cell phone. So that I'm talking to you guys on. And I actually stick it just on a camera tripod so you guys can see. And obviously I've had different angles over the years, over again so people can see. Over here where I did a lot of the bolt for bolt videos, and I actually used this GoPro for a while. And before that, I had my wife's digital SLR. But you can see I've got parts, and I've got the toolbox, and more parts. And down here, more parts. So I'm literally just buried right now, and I have to unbury myself. Yeah, and when you have a serious tiller, that's not... would take you all 30 seconds to do my garden. So yeah, if we can do a little bit of inspiration, it's good. It works all around. Again, the best way to support the channel, if you're interested in supporting it, is to actually click on the link that James posts. Thanks to James and Ken for moderating. James posts links to HL Supply. If you click on the link, and then you go buy something, and you don't have to buy anything, but if you go buy something, I get credit for what you buy. And that's the easiest way to support the channel. Costs you nothing. I don't ask for super chats or anything like that. I'm not asking for donations. I want you guys to actually get something if you're going to support me. And the other way to do it is if you're interested in crank tools, like I put the crankcase together today with tools. If you're interested in a set of tools, let me know, and we can talk. And I'll send you a form letter. All you got to do is email me. Back to sit for dinner. Wonderful evening. To the missus and the mister, have a great night. Pates, thank you for coming by. Things for sale. So I've got that 357, 359 saw that I just put together the other day. It's a good runner. Shout out to Mason, who does all of my testing. Mason, and mainly because I don't have wood here, so there's nothing to cut after I build all these saws. But Mason does my testing, and big shout out to Mason. He is Average Timber Cutter on YouTube. It's all one word, Average Timber Cutter, and you guys can go check out what he's doing. What else? So yeah, the 357 359 is for sale. This Ratty 394 is going to be for sale. It's going to be Ratty. I'm just going to let you guys know off the bat. But I think $450 for it is going to be a pretty reasonable deal. I mean, most 394s you can't get for $450. So yeah, check down in the live chat here. My email is right there. James posted it. You have to get rid of the extra ampersands if you want to get a hold of me. Questions, comments, anything else? So I think I'll call it a night. Time for something to eat here too, I think. Actually, I think my wife has banana bread, so I'm gonna go chase some of that down. So, no comments from the peanut gallery, Megan? Really? That's interesting. Brett, have a great night. Brett, have a great night. James, thanks again. Ken, thanks again. I know Ken may not be here. To everybody else, do appreciate you hanging out. It's fun as always. I get a kick out of it, and I hope you guys do too. So, we'll be back as soon as I get something else to show you guys. We'll be back, and we'll be hanging out. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.